Yes, everybody, how are you all doing? Sam here, United People's TV. It's live. It's Monday. And I'm back after a couple of days. I swear to God, it must be the hottest weekend ever in Amsterdam. Maybe not the hottest weekend ever in Amsterdam, but it was scorching there. And thankfully, Manchester United decided to be Manchester United and not do anything this weekend. I was worried about the fact there might be some sort of takeover announcement. I was worried that there might be some sort of transfer news. And all of a sudden, the biggest story was the fact that Chelsea rejected our third bid. And we're now moving on to Moises Caicedo, which would be fantastic news. Anthony, you're down there saying, how do you look so fresh? Honestly, I'm surprised myself how I look so fresh, how I feel so fresh, because it was a cracking weekend in Amsterdam. But I'm going to run through. I wouldn't say there's an update on the takeover, but we're going to have a conversation about what's going on with the takeover to begin the show. Then we're going to be speaking about Mason Mount and everything that's happened over this weekend from The Guardian, from The Telegraph, and The Times. And we'll speak about Moises Caicedo. Now, you know full well that he is in my perfect summer transfer window. I would love to sign Caicedo. We'll speak about him. We'll speak about Adrien Rabiot. Then Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail saying that 13 players still are on the sell list. We'll run through those and speak about the prices. And then we can just have a whole conversation and an update as a community. You can let me know what you think in the comments. Good morning, everybody. Who's down here? Chris, you're there. John, you're there. Lily. We've got Ezzy, you're there. Alex, good morning to you. Shegsy. We've got Anderson. We've got Ray, Mike. Michael Jonason watching on Facebook. Stephen Lawrence, good morning to you. Josh, you're there. Ant, you're there as always. Gary, John Moore. Vicky, you're there as well. Nice to see you. Chris, Teresa, Bullet. Hey, look, plenty of you here. Yeah. If you ever get the opportunity and you've never been, go to Amsterdam. Seriously. Anybody who's lucky enough to live in Holland, lovely country, first of all. Second of all, Amsterdam's just a great city. It is. Every single time you go to Amsterdam, you have a different time to what you had the time before. If you want to go there and you want to go crazy, you want to just sit in a coffee shop and do nothing else, you can do that. If you want to go out and have a lovely cultural weekend, there's loads of museums, there's loads of great bars, there's loads of great walks. You'll always walk about 10 times more than you thought you would. Had a great weekend there. Enjoyed it. Gary saying, would you recommend taking the missus? Yes, I just did. Amsterdam's awesome. It really is. It's not just a place where you just go and get high. You can do that if you want. That's part of the, I wouldn't say it's part of the culture, but it's, it's part of Amsterdam and I suppose why Amsterdam is Amsterdam. But you don't have to just do that. It's an amazing place. Really, really is. Look, right. We come back to this revolving conversation, right? Wow. I mean, let's be totally honest, right? This takeover has gone exactly how we all feared it would. Like, almost to the letter. Here we are on the 26th of June. Will Manchester United's summer transfer window be affected by the takeover? Well, that's a resounding yes. Will the Glazers delay things? Well, that's a resounding yes. And the truth be told, I can't come here with an update for you. The takeover latest is, where is it? What's going on? Where is the end point? Because there is no logic to it anymore. Are they really still trying to squeeze out another bid from Sheikh Jassim or Jim Ratcliffe? Possibly, but that's a stretch. There really has been. It's kind of gone a bit, in the coverage as well. Did nothing from Mike Keegan or anything from the Qatari side. The last we had was that sort of explosion of news that came after the Reuters article saying that they were considering exclusivity talks with Qatar. Nothing. Worrying as it is, that maybe it's a good thing. I suppose it depends which way you look at it. Al Mack, you're saying ignore the takeover until it happens. I can't ignore the single most important thing that's going to happen to Manchester United, and everything kind of hinges on it. Of course, Mason Mount is the one player so far. It's kind of a weird choice when you think about it like that. Mason Mount is the one player so far that United have actually gone after. We've had 3 bids for him rejected now. I'll run through that third bid story. Of course, look, you might say, Sam, this is old news, old news. It's almost like I've been away for the last 2 days. So give me 10 minutes to have a little full catch up, and then we'll dive into the news that's actually new. Around about us having conversations with Adrien Rabiot and Moises Caicedo's representatives, as well as a conversation about 13 players being on the sale list. But look, Sasha, you're watching from Japan. Good morning to you. Damon, you're saying, look, it's getting boring now. They literally have ground all excitement out of it. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was thinking about a lot of things yesterday. You know, that regret you get when you've had like 3 days. He's like, you start thinking about things. I woke up this morning feeling far fresher than I would, which is a nice surprise. Yeah, they've taken a lot of excitement out of it. They've taken pretty much every single bit of it. There isn't, of course, there's excitement still. Yes, there is. The idea that the Glazers might be leaving, but then that's still an idea now, isn't it? I still don't think at this point, again, famous last words, might be completely wrong. It still doesn't feel at this point that all of a sudden out of nowhere they're going to announce minority investment and they're going to stay on at the club. I think that the capital required for Manchester United now is so substantial that it's not really a minority investment. Maybe I'm spectacularly wrong on that and they will find someone and that's really what they wanted to do all along. But the fact that they went behind sort of Sheikh Jassim's back and spoke to Nasser Al-Khelaifi directly to try and get him to up his bid is really indicative of the fact that they want that big bid. They want that exit if they can get the right price. According to them, they still haven't got it. We sit in hope. That's all we can do is sit in hope. This transfer window is completely affected by it, dominated by it. And I'll run through everything that we know. I say everything that we know, everything that's happened over these last 72 hours or so. Bring you bang up to date. Bring me up to date as well. And then speak about, as I said, the latest on Caicedo and Rabiot as well. Oh, look at that, man. What a way to start the show. Jim Bomsey, how you doing, buddy? You just gifted 5 memberships. I missed the community. I'm back. Jeez. I'll tell you what, as well, the software made a big bit of progress with the software last week. So I think we might be reaching the point soon. I can do some tests behind the scenes. So if you remember, make sure you keep an eye out on the Telegram members only chat because I will be inviting a few of you on to come and help me with some testing. Mark Blish is saying, what's going on with the takeover is the main problem at the moment. Absolute joke that the idiot Glazers is still there. It's so exactly how we all thought it could go and is going. They have been ponderous and slow and indecisive at every single turn as Manchester United owners. So it's not come as a surprise that they're doing the exact same thing when it comes to the takeover. However, it's like the selfishness of it is just, wow. They do not give a toss about anything apart from how much money they make. Nothing. No matter how many people or anything that it negatively impacts and influences, they do not care. They just close the door on their Florida mansion and go, well, there goes the noise. Who cares about that? Arseholes, man. Craig, you're saying Man United should tell Mount and Kane, pay off their contracts, then give them the money back as a big signing bonus with money to spend. Craig's got it all sussed. He's got it all sorted. Thank you very much for the super chat, dude. But look, that's not going to happen. Mason Mount is, look, this Mason Mount situation, right? Let's get a sort of a full overview of what's happened, right? First bid went in. It was 40 mil, wasn't it? We knew it was a low ball bid, but because he's got 1 year left on his contract, we're like, well, okay, right, we'll try this. Obviously rejected. We went in with a second bid of £50 million, and that was a bid where I was like, you know what, 50 million, that feels pretty fair. 50 million felt pretty fair, but still they rejected it, and Man United went back with a third bid, 55 million. And it was at this point where I'm not sure, I'm sure plenty of you agree with me in the comments here saying, look, this is the end point, right? They either accept this bid or we go toodle pip and we go that way and we look at someone else. And that's exactly what's happened here. David Ornstein confirming, what was it? 3 days ago now, they rejected the bid. 50 plus 5 was the bid, and Chelsea want 58 plus 7. 65 mil they want for him. Good luck. Bear in mind that the original valuation from Chelsea was 70 million. Man United's low ball bid was 40. We've come up to meet in the middle at 55, and they've still said no. And then, of course, these stories sort of emerged. Oh, Bayern Munich are involved. Rustle some feathers. Make United think that, oh, maybe Mason Mount won't be joining us. We must be giving them 65 million. I think I said, where did I put this? Is it this one here? Todd Boehly is just, he doesn't know what he's doing. And I've had Chelsea fans all up in my comments. Oh, this defending his approach, thinking he's doing the right thing in the right way. I mean, he doesn't know what he's doing. I laugh about it. It's not particularly funny because the way that Chelsea have acted in this market, just like the way they acted with Abramovich, completely distorted the market for every other team. And the last thing we need this summer is a distorted market. Because given how crap we are anyway. Lyle, you're saying Chelsea rejecting a third bid was a massive insult. I wouldn't say it's an insult. It's just Chelsea think their hand is stronger than it is. Or, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe they don't think it's stronger than it is, but they are playing it like they hold all the cards. But Fabrizio Romano has made it clear here. Right, Mason Mount is not signing a new contract. He's not. So if you as a football club want to sit there with the amount of money that you have spent and you want to risk a player like that going for free when you know full well that you need to balance your books over the course of the next couple of years, but maybe Todd Boehly will be gone by that point. He would have sold the club on to some other mug. They need money in. Of course, they've got plenty of money in. They've got Kai Havertz. They've had, what is it? Koulibaly's gone to Saudi Arabia. And all the 149 other players who have gone to Saudi Arabia as well. But maybe there's a silver lining at the end of all of this. Robert, you're calling it a desperation to recoup cash. This is exactly what I've called it. I've compared him to like some hardened gambler who's all of a sudden 100 grand in debt and is just like, I don't know, selling off his sofa, selling off his car, selling off everything, but wants maximum prices for it. Even though the situation while they're selling it is not particularly good. Of course, all the reports and rumours are that Manchester United now are going to be moving away from Mason Mount. And that's where these conversations now exist, right? Mason Mount, I've stood by the fact that I think Mason Mount would be a good signing for Manchester United. I absolutely back Eric Ten Hag to make him the sort of 2021-22 Mason Mount that got double figures for goals and assists in the Premier League and was an actual genuine asset, rather than the Mason Mount who existed last year. Let's be totally honest. It was naff. So were 90% of those Chelsea players. Does that mean that 90% of those Chelsea players are crap? No. Does it mean they had a bad season? Yes. But 55 million was, I mean, that is a top valuation for Mason Mount. I think even that is an unreasonable amount. But hey, Chelsea are really, really digging their heels in. There's a super chat here from Spence. How you doing, buddy? This was briefed as our final bid. If we up our bid now, we'll pay for it in the long term as clubs know we are a pushover. And hope that I've been saying this for quite a while now. I said this summer, it has to be the summer where Manchester United are prepared to miss out on our top targets in order to sort of draw the line in the sand and say, you know what? We're operating differently. You want to try and screw us? You want to try and get an extra 10 mil out of it? Never mind. We're going to go elsewhere. Will that mean does that mean that United will sign players who are less good? Potentially. But there's a long-term benefit to that. Because otherwise, it will never, ever change. And at some point, it has to change. Ashwin, man, you ledge. Look at that, another five gifted memberships. Never won't put a smile on my face, this community. It's a genuine community. It really is. Make sure you drop a like on the video if you're new. But this is where the conversation gets interesting. And I'm sitting here rubbing my hands together. Manchester United are refusing to raise our Mason Mount bid with a focus moving towards Moises Caicedo. Now, you know what I think about Moises Caicedo. This is coming from, it came from Jonathan Norcroft in the Times originally. I do have articles left, go away. Manchester United are focusing on other midfield targets with Moises Caicedo top of their list. This dude here, he should have been plan A anyway, right? And you're asking, how do we get from Mount to Caicedo? It can only be what you're saying, because we know Chelsea are after Caicedo, gentleman's agreement. I mean, you can look at it if you want to say that, but Caicedo is a name that's been on Manchester United's radar for some time. This is not just this is not like an ultimate power play from United in the Mason Mount negotiations, in my opinion anyway, right? Caicedo's always been a player that's on our list. Will it be embarrassing if we sign Caicedo for 80 million when we could have signed him for 5 million, what, 2 years ago? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's embarrassing. However, I'd rather be embarrassed than pay 80 mil and get this dude. I've called it. I've said there are 3 signings that Manchester United can make this summer, which are transformative to how we play. And you'll notice such a big difference next season in how United play if we sign those players. Number 1, a goalkeeper like Onana. Number 2, a goal scorer like Harry Kane. And number 3, an all-round legitimate box-to-box midfielder like Moises Caicedo or Declan Rice. Now, Declan Rice was a story that came last week, and we don't know whether that was actually going to ever go ahead. I hoped it would. I've added Moises Caicedo down here now. Mason Mount, obviously, still the only one on the moving list. I'm going to see what you're thinking in the comments here around Caicedo. What's your gut instinct saying? Do you think that this Caicedo story is, you really think it's just a power play from United? This is us just going after a Chelsea target to sort of force the issue with Mason Mount. Mate, Caicedo's way too good a player for that. What I would say is Caicedo and Mount are slightly different players. Mason, they can both play that number 8 role, right? If we're playing that next season, we've got Casemiro as a number 6 and we've got 2 number 8s, Bruno and somebody else. Mason Mount is somebody who's naturally more inclined to move forwards, to aggressively press from the front. Very good at that. Defensive work rate's also good, but he's someone who's got a bit more creative flair, I would say, than Moises Caicedo, who's somebody who has more natural defensive instincts. Somebody who's really going to be good at screening, obviously can slot in at right back if you need him to. All-round, ball-winning, progressive footballer, but from slightly deeper. So they are not, I wouldn't say they're like-for-like replacements. They would, but I think both of them, alongside each other, would be incredible signings. And I think there'd be roles for them. Let me see what you're saying down there. Beastie McGee, how you saying? That's a nice name. I'd like to see Caicedo at United, but I'm always wary of Brighton players when they come out of the setup, especially when we'll get our eyes wide. Brighton will try and push for 90 mil. Well, Arsenal had, 70 mil rejected in January, I think, for Caicedo. And he's obviously a better player now than he was before. And you're in a summer where there's a bit of a, multiple clubs want him. I think you're probably right. The price for Caicedo is going to be somewhere in the 80 to 90 million mark or region, which makes me go, can United really afford that? Now, United can afford that if we sell players properly, which is going to be coming up. We're going to be coming on to that conversation next. James, you're saying we're after Caicedo because of the quality and we need cover in that position. I don't think we need cover in that position, James. I think we need an upgrade in that position. Eriksen is the cover. Eriksen was never signed to play there every week. He was signed to be the cover for De Jong. And we know what happened there. De Jong never came in. It was just Eriksen. But this dude, it's also being said by Rob Dawson and ESPN, it's being covered by a few others at this moment in time. And also it's being covered, interestingly enough, by The Athletic, which I will be moving on to next. Now, it's not a full article on this situation, but man, Caicedo for me, as I said, there are 3 signings that can transform this team. A goalkeeper, a ball-playing goalkeeper, a goal scorer, an elite-level goal scorer, and an all-round midfielder like Moises Caicedo. They'd be my 3 dream signings this summer. I understand the concept of being worried about Brighton players coming out of the system, but I mean, for a long, you could say that Cucurella when he went to Chelsea was quite disappointing, but you could point Bissouma when he went to Spurs, you could point out as well. I can understand the fears, but I don't really think, genuinely, I don't think there are any fears, in my opinion, about Caicedo. This dude is an all-round, supreme, what would I call him? He just seems like a modern-day all-rounder. And I don't know whether you think the same thing here, but it feels like this position is something that's really become more prevalent in the modern game, in the way that football's played. That combative midfielder who also has the ability to bring the ball forward. You don't really get specialists anymore, per se. You get somebody who can kind of do a little bit of everything. And I don't. No offense to Mason Mount, but it's not really a comparison in my opinion in terms of which signing would be more influential at Manchester United next season. It's Caicedo by like a long shot. Mason Mount would be a good signing, but Caicedo is the sort of signing that bumps you up a couple of notches. Jack, how you doing, buddy? You're saying the problem I see is that Caicedo wouldn't start over Casemiro. Rabiot wouldn't start. No, he's not a. Anybody who's putting Caicedo down as like a number 6, like you've got it wrong, man. He's not a number 6. Caicedo wouldn't be coming in to be a holding midfielder. He'd be coming in to be an all-round central midfielder. Casemiro would be the one that is tasked with sitting in front of the defense, kind of screening it, being that deeper line playmaker. Next season, guarantee you, well, I can't guarantee you. It's my opinion on it. I think we're going to be seeing Casemiro being more like the Frenkie de Jong type player. Someone who lifts his head up, tries to be the deeper line playmaker. I think we saw bits of it, parts of it last season, but I think there's going to be a bit more clarity on his role when you've got the energy in midfield alongside him. And then I think that's why Caicedo would be so important. And that's something that Eriksen just can't offer. And what are you saying, buddy? 55 plus Maguire for Caicedo and Rabiot in Eriksen's position. Brighton, would they want him? Who was their centre-backs? They had Lewis Dunk and someone else. Can't remember the other guy. Was it Colwell? Collywell? Might be making that one up. Anyway, their defense was pretty damn good last year. Nick, you're saying, is he honestly worth that much more from McAllister? He went for 35 mil. It's a pointless comparison looking at McAllister because it was a release clause, wasn't it? Jordan, you're saying Caicedo plus McTominay to keep the costs lower? Maybe. And there are plenty. There's 13 names on that list, and I will run through those. Garlic Bread Man, you're saying, don't think Caicedo is a power move, but I do feel Ted Bundy will crumble when he realizes that. And we'll end up with Mount for 55 mil. Now, I'm not saying that I'd be disappointed with Mount for 55 mil. Like, for the life of me, I trust Ten Hag. And you might say, oh, that's naive, Sam. I'll say, okay, well, you know why Manchester United were able to have a different season last season? Number one, Ten Hag's a great coach. Number two, he actually made good signings that worked for him. Being successful in last summer's transfer market was crucial for how last season played out differently than the season before, right? This summer, we need the exact same thing. At this moment in time, it's all a bit frustrating. And that kind of goes down to the, it's a takeover and the fact that Mason Mount is the only bid we've actually put in. Mohammed, you're saying, hi, Sam, what happened to Frimpong interest? I don't particularly think the Frimpong interest was anything more than just, I don't know, like a name that got linked to United. Frimpong he's great going forward, but as Ronald Koeman said when he left him out of the Dutch national team, like, he's basically a winger. Not really a right back. Well, that was his term anyway. And he plays, I think, in that sort of back 3 system. Is it for Leipzig? No. Leverkusen. That's who he plays for. Let's go on to the next talking point here, right? As I said, there's plenty to catch up on. And then we speak about, look, anybody who's been watching the channel all summer will know that I've had Adrien Rabiot sat on that could happen list all summer long. This isn't a move that's just come out of nowhere because, we can't afford Mason Mount, so, let's go after a free signing in Adrien Rabiot. He's always been on our list. Always. It's just that until this moment in time, we hadn't really been pushing forward with the conversation. But we have now. So what I'm going to do here is run through this article from The Athletic from yesterday from Dan Sheldon about Adrien Rabiot and Moises Caicedo, and we can have a chat about it in the comments after. All right. Man United have made contact with Adrien Rabiot's representatives over a proposed move to the club. His contract, of course, expires in 5 days. Juve are trying to get him to sign a 1-year extension. Rabiot enjoys a good relationship with Massimiliano Allegri, one of the top players last season. Rabiot came close to United last summer, but of course, I've tweeted about it a few times. Thank you very much, Veronique Rabiot, for doing that because we signed Casemiro instead. Rabiot had a spell in City's academy, X, Y, Z. But look, Man United have also held talks with Moises Caicedo's representatives over a potential move from Brighton. So The Athletic confirming there that we have held talks directly with the representatives of both Moises Caicedo and Adrien Rabiot. Now, I want you to let me know what you think about Adrien Rabiot in the comments, right? Because I think so many of you are immediately going to say this, right? We didn't want Rabiot last summer. He's a problem. His mum's a problem. He's got the wrong attitude. These aren't the sorts of signings that we need to be making. And you'll remember that last summer, that was pretty much how I felt. Because I'm trying to remember what was happening at that point in time. I think when we went after Rabiot last summer was we were going after De Jong. Nothing on De Jong. Going after Rabiot, 15 million euros, and then trying to sign Marko Arnautovic. I think that happened in the same week. And it was just like, everybody was like, are you being serious? It's like going from a Ferrari to a Fiat. I think everybody was understandably frustrated. I'm looking, personally, just a personal opinion here, I'm looking at Rabiot from through a different lens this summer. And this is why I am. I think last summer, if Erik ten Hag had signed Rabiot, who we know that there are question marks over his attitude, question marks over the problems that Veronique would pose as his mum and agent, I would have agreed with you last summer. I think putting that into that dressing room last summer, it would have been potentially a problem. But I think Man United's dressing room now is a better place. Ten Hag has got far more control over it. So I would trust that Ten Hag would be able to bring him into that environment. And it wouldn't be the same sort of level of problem as it would have been last time. You've got Casemiro now who's leading. You've got real leaders in that dressing room. You haven't got the ability for somebody to come in and sort of ruffle the feathers. And also, Rabiot had a great season. He was nominated for the Serie A midfielder of the season alongside Milinkovic-Savic and Barella, Inter Milan's Barella, who won it. He was decent at the World Cup too. He's had a good season. Now, a lot of people are going to be looking at Rabiot and going, ugh, free transfer. United need to be spending X and we should only be looking at X players. Sometimes there are genuinely good free transfers. I would put Rabiot down as one of those. I would put Marcus Thuram from Borussia Mönchengladbach down as another one of those. I know it might not be glamorous, but hey, do you reckon that Juventus really gave a crap when they signed Paul Pogba on a free? No. I'm going to see what you're saying about Rabiot down here in the comments. Because if I'm looking at Rabiot and I'm looking at, in an ideal situation, Manchester United would be able to sign everybody in midfield and we'd have great depth, but we haven't got the money, ladies and gents. It's just the truth. We don't. So Rabiot coming in and sort of operating, maybe being the player that starts ahead of Eriksen, and then Eriksen comes in and they sort of dovetail. I can see it. I could see it being a decent squad addition. Not the sort of player that moves the needle, but given that we're back in the Champions League next year and we want to be competing at the top, the quality of our squad has got to go up. And I personally think that Rabiot would slot in that sense. Not the sort of player who really moves the needle too much, but certainly one who helps the squad. Let me see what you're saying. There's a couple of super chats. Jack, you're saying need more 7 out of 10 every game players like Rabiot. I always call that Dennis Irwin. He's like the old school 7 out of 10 every single week. Mr. Consistent. Martin, you're saying only concern is how much a signing on fee would cost. Yeah, I do agree on that part. I'm not sitting here and saying it is a dream transfer. There are no red flags anywhere. Signing on bonus would have to be huge. Wages would be a problem because we're trying to sort of get to grips with our wage structure at this club. And Rabiot would demand a lot of dough. I say Rabiot. His mum would demand a lot of dough. So I have no idea how much he actually would cost. Given the choice, would you rather take Mount or Rabiot? Again, they're kind of slightly different players. I think we do need we need midfielders who are good in the first phase and midfielders who are good in the second phase. It might be boring to say that, but the first phase is bringing the ball out from defense to your halfway line comfortably, under pressure. And in that environment, I think Rabiot's a good player. And then I think in the second phase, going forward, I reckon Mount would be a good player. I can see logic in all of them. And maybe that's just me sort of leaving my sort of all doors open so that no matter what happens this summer, I'd be happy. I don't know whether I'm going to be happy at the end of this summer. You remember last summer, right? I was utterly convinced. The whole way through, I said, look, I know we're frustrated now, but I think by the end of the summer, I think we're going to be happy. I think we were at the end of it. We might have overpaid, but we were happy at the end of the summer. I can't say that with as much confidence this summer. I can't. Because of the takeover situation. I have no idea what really is going on at this football club. But according to The Athletic, not only are we in talks with Adrien Rabiot's representatives, we're in talks with Moises Caicedo. Maybe we're talks FC, interested FC. You know, all the phrases that keep getting thrown around. But Rabiot is one I could really see moving quite fast. Look, his contract runs out in 5 days. Either he signed a new deal or he's a free agent. We'll find out in the next 5 days. Of course, the person who's part of that conversation as well is this man here. In 5 days' time, we'll know whether David De Gea has signed his new contract or not. Now, the reports are suggesting that Man United aren't looking at the De Gea situation as a sort of a hard deadline. You know, like, oh, if De Gea's not signed his new contract by the 30th of June, then he can't possibly sign a new contract. That's not what they're saying, right? But honestly, man, if at this point De Gea ends up signing a new deal, I'll be like, what took so long? United are looking at signing Onana, all right? We met with his agent. 50 million, thereabouts, plus add-ons, don't know how much they would be. We know he's going to be expensive. We know that Diogo Costa, we know that good players are expensive. I mean, you know, spoiler alert. I'll be amazed if at the end of all of this, De Gea signs a new deal. That is a personal opinion. That's not based on any sort of fact. It's kind of swung both ways. We don't know. He's not staying. I mean, a couple of months ago, it was dead certain that he was going to be staying. Of course, it all basically boils down to money, doesn't it? If we had the money, we would sign Onana. If we had the money, we would already have signed Moises Caicedo. If we had the money, Harry Kane would already be a Manchester United player. But we have a limited budget. I still haven't been able to explain. The full nuances of that. I'm waiting for an interview with Kieran Maguire because I need some expert insight into it because there are so many numbers in so many places that I don't want to get the data wrong. Corriere dello Sport just confirmed he will renew with Juve. Well, let's find out. I mean, I'm not going to be spreading that off the back of an article from the Italian press. Given what was it? What they said we signed Kim Min Jae about 4 times. Yeah, so I think I might be leaving that one to the side for now. But look, hey, look, Rabiot may well sign a new deal, and then Juve will be delighted with that because Juve are a team that over the last few years. Type it in the comments. All the players that they've signed on free transfers. Pogba obviously was a big one, but there was so many more than that. Was it Aaron Ramsey? I think they got him. They got so many. Was it Di Maria? Maybe they got on a free. Perlo on a free. Can't remember. They signed bloody loads. Bjornar, you're saying 2,400 people watching, only 400 people. Thank you very much, Bjornar. And it always confuses me that because I look at other channels, look at all of YouTube, and I think, how is it that they get so many likes from X amount, but it never happens on here. I think people just watch and they just don't like. If you can, please do drop a like on the video. It does make such a big difference. It really, really does. But of course, we're here talking about all the signings we could make. That right there is just as important for Manchester United. We always say about the being ruthless and getting rid of the deadwood is an important thing. This summer more than most because of our lack of budget. Our ability to have a good summer transfer window is directly related to our ability to sell this summer. And that's probably just as much of a reason why I can't be confident about United having a good summer because of the takeover and these players' sales. We've got to get rid of so many. Mohammed, you sent a super chat. What are you saying? Do you think United will be going for Timber or Gravenberch? No, Timber's going to be going to Arsenal, and Gravenberch. Hey, look, I'd like us to go after Gravenberch. Offer him a full season loan. Bayern Munich have just signed Konrad Laimer. He hardly got a kick of the ball last season in the first team. Gravenberch on loan. But look at this, right? 13 players on this list. We can zoom in and we can speak about them, right? I'm going to do my lunchtime video on this today, okay? I've already done 1-2 videos on player sales, and this is a sort of an updated list when it comes to prices. Now, I'll be honest, I don't particularly agree with every single one of our prices. I really, really don't. Chris, you joined as a member there, dude. Let me know where you're watching from. Legend. Declan is saying we need to be more like Juve in that regard. I was happy to see Eriksen on a free, and I thought Rabiot would be another. Look, maybe we will. I think we've said this so many times on the channel. What's going on with Marcus Thuram? Not just from United's perspective, but how is it that not one team has really, or maybe they have. I think you said PSG might have been sort of sniffing around him. No movement on the Marcus Thuram situation. Find that really weird. But this here, right, in terms of the prices linked to the players, you can let me know what you think. But Donny van de Beek for 20 mil, I think is wishful. I think we're getting 20 mil for Donny van de Beek. And there's certainly no way that you can put Donny van de Beek at the same price as Fred. And Fred is the same price as Elanga. Don't know. Inter Milan, people are talking about with Marcus Thuram. Let's have a look. What's going on there? I haven't seen that. That's just been announced. Oh. Marcus Thuram. It's going to be signing for Inter Milan on Tuesday, apparently. Who's saying that? Let's have a look. Right, yeah, that's coming from more Italian outlets. Right, let's find out there. Look, I think that'll be a good signing for Inter Milan. I thought, damn it. I thought that would be a good one for United, man. I think we need 2 strikers this summer. I don't think we can afford 2 strikers. Anyway, can we go back to this list? For me, just there's a lot of head scratchers in this list. There's no way that Fred should be the same price as Van der Beek, and there's no way you're getting 20 mil for Van der Beek. Sorry. It's not happening. Anthony Elanga, you might laugh at that, but Anthony Elanga, with the age, with the amount of games he's played for United, he's already a senior international. He should be going for somewhere in the 15 to 20 million mark. He really, really should. I think Fred should be more than 20. Hannibal, stupid. That price is stupid. We paid 10 million euros to sign him as a teenager when he was 16. What, you think all of a sudden now you can get him for 13 million? Sod that. That's basically inflation. That's basically the price we paid for him. Hannibal, 0 chance. Double that at the very least for Hannibal. There's no way that he goes for 13 million. Not a chance. Alex Telles, 10 million. Good luck. Don't think you're going to get 10 mil for Alex Telles. You're probably going to get 5. Thereabouts. Same thing for Eric Bailly. You're going to be getting like 10 million combined for Eric Bailly and Alex Telles, and you have to go, well, that didn't quite work out. Brandon Williams for 5 mil. That seems fair enough. That seems fair enough. We go down here, and this is where we get to some interesting figures and some interesting conversation points. Man United are willing to listen to offers for Harry Maguire in excess of 40 mil. Nick, you're saying why hire for Hannibal? What's he done lately? I've just told you. We've signed him for 10 million euros. He's gone on to develop. He's broken through. He's in the Turkish national. He's got his whole career ahead of him. And after that development he's had at United, we're going to sell him at the exact same price that we signed him for 4 years ago. No. No, we're not. No. Double the price. Harry Maguire, 40 mil. Again, good luck. I've said that Harry Maguire should be going for somewhere in the region of 30 to 40 mil. Stand by that. So I don't think it's an outrageous number next to his name, but probably more towards a 30 million mark. Scott McTominay, that is That's interesting, that one. I think I've said like 20. I mean, it's not completely outrageous, but 25 to 30 is probably a more realistic and fair price for McTominay. Dean Henderson for 20, I think is underpriced. I think Dean Henderson should be going for 30 mil. Again, and I'll always compare it. Gavin Bazunu left City for Southampton as a goalkeeper last summer, having played not one Premier League minute, and he was sold for like 12, 13 mil. Dean Henderson's got plenty more experience under his belt. He's a bit older, a bit more established. Should be going for more than 20 mil, in my opinion. And I think probably the one that's going to be causing most head scratches down there is Jadon Sancho for 45 million. So you're saying that Man United would be willing to sell Jadon Sancho for 5 million more than Harry Maguire? Which I think makes you go, really? You really sure about that? I don't personally think that Manchester United will be selling Jadon Sancho this summer. But I also think if a genuinely big offer for Sancho came in, and I'm talking somewhere between 50 and 60 mil, I think a conversation could be had behind the scenes about whether or not we should cash in on Jadon Sancho. I genuinely think that would... I don't think it's a conversation that Ten Hag is pushing. It's like top of the to-do list or anything like that. But I think if an offer came in for between 50 and 60 mil for Jadon Sancho, Man United would at least entertain the conversation. I think Anthony Martial for 25 mil should be right up there, probably at the top of that for sale list. Like, come on, man. Someone buy him. Someone buy Anthony Martial. Again, 25 mil. It's a little bit optimistic. I'd probably say around about 20. Probably 20 is a fair amount for Martial. So it's not that outrageous an amount. Of course, Jones has left, Twanzebe's left, Galbraith, Dishon Bernard as well. We can see what our sale list is down there so far. Jones leaving on a free, Button leaving on a free, Twanzebe leaving on a free, and Iqbal effectively leaving on a free. We got like 1 mil for him. I don't think it was 1 mil. I think it was like 850 grand. It was something stupid. What do you think about these numbers all down here? Right? Maverick, you're saying all these numbers, name, sorry, and there's no suitors. We've heard nothing about Donny van der Beek. We've heard Fulham for Fred. That's about it. Ilanga, he got linked to Dortmund. That one, I don't think that was anything. Medbury again got linked to Dortmund, but then Fabrizio Romano poo-pooed it. Tellez, did he been linked to anyone? Don't know. Maybe go back to Portugal. Eric Bailly, was that Marseille? He was at Marseille and then he was getting linked to somewhere else. I don't know. He's getting sold for pittance though. Real shit. That sucks, that Bailly one. When we signed him from Villarreal, I was like, my God, we've actually got a ball-playing athletic centre-back who can actually move. It felt like it was going to be exciting. And, yeah, I don't know. Jonathan, you're saying, why would they leak all these fees? More BS, I think. Maybe it's just made up by Chris Wheeler. Maybe it's not. But it's... I've spoken about the importance of player sales. And I think that's one thing that's... I personally feel that's more of a reason to be frustrated currently, the 26th of June. I think there's more of a reason to be frustrated at Man United's lack of sales than Man United's lack of signings. Because signings require checkbooks, require credit cards, require money. And I think all of those conversations are being blocked. Every single one of them is just being blocked by the takeover. I'll just wait until update here. Wait until we know who's got the credit card. Wait until we know whose credit card you're paying from. Whereas player sales, it's a bit different. Right? That's not the case. You can just bring money into the club. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all of this is directly linked to the takeover because Joel Glazer still has final say on even the players that are sold. I don't know. But it's certainly a severe lack of movement so far. As I said, I went to Amsterdam at the weekend. Haven't mentioned it. Had a great time. I was worried that something was going to happen, but nothing did. The biggest bit of news I missed was that Chelsea rejected our third bid for Mason Mount, and that we're now in talks with Caicedo and Rabiot's representatives. Now, there's plenty of you down here saying, "Oh, Rabiot's done deals, done deals, done." Guy, it's coming out of like an Italian. I've had a look. It's like a bit. It's like a bit of news from the Italian press. It could well be correct, but it's not strong enough. It's not coming from a strong enough source that I'm going to be shouting saying, "Oh, there's no point talking about Rabiot anymore." We'll have a conversation about Rabiot. And he's not a name that's just randomly appeared on United's list. He's been on our list for a long, long time. It's just whether or not he was going to sign a new deal at Juve. That was always the question mark. Tentative reports out of Italy suggest he will do that. But tentative reports out of Italy said that we agreed a deal and wages with Kim Min-jae from Napoli about 7 or 8 times. So I think I might just take those a little pinch of salt at this moment in time. Ryden, he's saying we can't sell anyone if no one's bidding. That's a fair point there. That's a fair point. And maybe that is just a blocker of all of this. Who's going to pay the wages of some of these players? Who's going to want? Van der Beek, hopefully he goes back to Ajax. I think that'll be a great move for him. Fred, we've got to make sure I still think Fred would have a position inside this squad next year. But we rarely do. We struggle to improve our squad, let alone actually replace when we let a player leave. That's why we probably tend to hold on to players so much. Anthony Langer, we should be selling and should be getting good money for. Hannibal Medjbury, I think it's a shame for him. I think he could go on to have an excellent career elsewhere, but I just don't know whether the timing of it means that he's going to get that breakthrough at United that he wants. Telles, Bay, and Brandon Williams, it's a no-brainer. All 3 of them should be leaving. Maguire, McTominay, and Henderson, you're looking at 3 players leaving there for a decent amount of money that doesn't really change the quality of our starting 11. Of all 3 of them, I would say McTominay is the one player I would sell Maguire first, then Henderson second, then McTominay third. And then Sancho and Martial, again, don't really think it massively impacts the quality of our starting 11 as we saw last season. Jadon Sancho was in and out, but Garnacho's probably ahead of him in the pecking order. So's Rashford, and so's Anthony. A big offer, and we would entertain something going on with Jadon Sancho. But you want to finish on a positive note? Everybody can get your comments in last couple of minutes of the show. How about this? How about seeing Lisandro Martinez back on the training pitch? His words, not mine. He's back 100%. Yeah, the man crush is still strong. I can't wait to see him back. And hopefully we can, I don't know, I'm just trying to think about it. Like getting Onana in there, and you've got Luke Shaw at left back, and you've got Lisandro Martinez as the left centre back. And then maybe you've got Caicedo and Casemiro in front of him. Oh, man, you've got a seriously press-resistant team being built. A team that is actually confident at knocking it out between each other, playing football, not being scared of the ball and playing hot potato and booting it long to someone else. We all feared that was, remember that injury? Ooh, it looked like his ACL, but it wasn't. It was a metatarsal. So he's back here. He's on the training pitch, and he'll be part of the preseason. And then hopefully we'll see Lisandro Martinez back at full tilt. Let me go down here and see what you are saying in the comments. And you're saying it's frustrating, Sam, as Maguire, McTominay, Fred, and Sancho could all be decent players for the right teams. Yeah, look, absolutely could. It's like when when Solskjaer was sacked, and everybody tried to say, what's his name? I've completely forgotten his name now. Kieran Maguire. Damn. Kieran McKenna. Everyone was like, oh, Kieran McKenna is an absolutely abysmal coach. Michael Carrick, they won't do anything. Kieran McKenna ended up getting promoted. I think he won. Did he win manager of the season with Ipswich? Fantastic. Michael Carrick got to the playoffs with Middlesbrough. Fantastic first seasons for both of them. They were good managers. Well, good coaches. And they've proven that. Fred, Maguire, McTominay, Sancho, there's decent players there. It's just not currently working in this United team. Unfortunately for us, probably the biggest blocker is the wages. Certainly with Martial, ain't nobody paying him probably in half for what Martial's on. I'm like 250 grand a week. Sancho, I think, is on more. McTominay, I think, must be on a pretty decent. McTominay shouldn't be too hard to shift. And Dean Henderson's on over 100 grand as well. It is a problem. Still is. And of course, I think that's why people have got concerns over Rabiot. But all of you have just told me now that it's coming around in the Italian press that it's done. So I shouldn't waste any more time speaking about Rabiot, right? No. I'll wait for that to become a little bit more legitimate before we say it's all done. Caicedo, you're saying a fully fit and committed buy would work well. Well, that's been the story of his career at United. Yeah, because when he's fully fit, he's great. A little bit loose, a little bit wild. Good fun to watch. But yeah, the injuries never really worked out for him. That was a nice, quiet show to kick it back in this week. I'll be here Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. I'll be here every single day as well in the afternoon with a lunchtime video. Today, I might focus on the player sales. I think there's an interesting debate to be had there about who we think realistically could actually be sold and for what price. From an update of what video I did about a month ago now, something like that. I hope at some point we're still due that celebration video, right? We're still due a takeover update. It's properly all quiet on the Western Front there. It's really strange. It's really odd now. Like, just piss off. Seriously. But no, they dig their heels in still. Don't know what they're chasing. A higher bid? Sod knows. There is no update on the takeover. When there is one, I'll bring it to you. Caicedo and Rabiot were in talks with their representatives. Mason Mount, the third bin's gone in. Looks like we're going to try and play hardball. Let's see if we follow through on that or whether we cave and we just offer another 5 mil, which won't reflect well on us at this point. Big up to everybody who joined in. Make sure you drop a like on the video. Much love to everyone. Good to be back. And yeah, if you ever get the chance, go to Amsterdam. What a city. I've been like 5 times now and I'll go again next week. It's great.